Part 1. In this part of the test, you will hear short conversations between two people. After each conversation, you will hear a question about it. Choose the best answer to the question from the choices printed in the test booklet and mark your answer on the separate answer sheet. You should mark A, B, C, or D. There are 19 questions in Part 1. The conversations and questions will not be repeated. Please listen carefully. Now, turn the page. Number 1.
Excuse me, could you tell me where today's guest lecture will be held?
Unfortunately, the speaker is sick, so it won't be happening today after all. There's a notice about the new date and time posted on the university homepage.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll check the website.
What does the man say about the lecture? Number 2.
Bill, do you have a moment?
Sure. What can I do for you?
This report you filed contains old information. Please revise it and get it back to me tonight.
Sure thing.
What are the speakers discussing?
Number 3.
Hi, can I help you?
Yes, I'd like to exchange money. Can I do that here?
Yes, but there's a fee. It's $10 for every $1,000 you exchange.
Okay, let's do $3,000 then.
What does the woman want to do?
Number 4.
For the group project, we could meet at the library or maybe an empty classroom.
Yeah, I guess either of those would work.
Okay, how about the student center? There are tables near the snack bar.
Studying does tend to make me hungry.
Why does the man mention being hungry? Number 5.
Have you seen my sunglasses? I haven't seen them since yesterday.
Where did you last see them?
They were on the table in the kitchen.
Then I would check there first.
Why does the woman mention sunglasses? Number 6.
Excuse me, Professor, I'm a little confused. Are Lisa and I supposed to hand in 2 different opinion essays?
No, I'd like you to collaborate. You'll submit just one essay. Email me if any questions come up.
What does the woman tell the man to do? Number 7.
It's time to make the announcement that the store is closing.
Already? I love it when a shift just flies by.
Yeah, in about 2 minutes, when it's exactly 1:15. Would you mind doing it?
No problem. There's nothing I'd enjoy more.
What is the woman happy about? Number 8.
Did you have fun at the show?
Well, I took a wrong turn off the highway and missed the first half.
Oh, that's too bad. I heard the first band was the best one.
Why did the woman miss part of the concert? Number 9.
Have you seen Professor Lopez's new laboratory?
No, not yet, but I hear it's amazing.
Yeah, kind of sad I won't be using some of the new equipment.
New equipment or not, you shouldn't have any regrets about working with Dr. Mitchell now.
What do we know about the woman's past? Number 10.
I've got to get a new computer. I'm tired of how slow mine is. I'm going to take a look at some on Saturday.
Have you tried looking online? Maybe you could search there first.
Actually, I'd rather go and try one out at the store.
What does the man want to do? Number 11.
I can't believe all the snow we've been having.
Yeah, I know. I heard that it's possible that school will be closed again tomorrow, but I have a feeling it's not going to happen this time.
If it does, it'd be a new record for most days off in a year. The previous record was set in the 1950s.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
How would the man feel if school is canceled again? Number 12.
Have you seen Bob around today?
I'd steer clear of him if I were you. He's holed himself up in the library for the afternoon, trying to get his article finished.
What does the woman suggest about Bob?
Number 13.
Did you get a letter about the rent going up again?
Not yet, but it's a regular occurrence at this point in the summer, so it's not exactly a shock.
I suppose, but it sure doesn't feel like it's already been a year. Maybe it's time I started looking for a new place.
What is the woman's reaction to the man's news? Number 14.
We have a lot to do to prepare for our economics exam. What should we start with?
Why don't we take a stab at the lecture notes first? I think they'll take the longest.
Sounds good. Let's get started.
What will the speakers do next? Number 15.
Morning, sir. Welcome aboard.
Good morning. Will this bus take me to the train station?
Not directly, but if you don't mind transferring, the green subway line will take you to the station. Or you could wait another half hour or so for the direct bus, but you will arrive there later.
In that case, I'll just take this one.
Why does the man choose to ride the woman's bus? Number 16.
We need to restock all the shelves in the clothing department before we leave tonight.
Okay, that shouldn't take too long.
You should have a look. Because of the sale, the whole section was picked clean.
What happened in the store's clothing section?
Number 17.
Have you been to the art museum since they opened that new collection?
No, I hadn't heard about it. What are they exhibiting?
It's medieval art. They brought in some gorgeous paintings.
Oh, I'll probably wait and go next month when they open the folk art exhibit.
How does the man feel about medieval art? Number 18.
Did you have a chance to read the draft of that essay I'm working on? The one I sent yesterday?
I started it, but then I got distracted with some family stuff. I really like the opening, though.
You mean the part where I talk about my first job?
Yeah, it paints a really clear picture of your experience.
What are the speakers discussing? Number 19.
Will you be off from work around 5 on Thursday? I'll be in the area and thought we could do an early dinner.
I'd love to, but I'm in a meeting until 6. Any chance that would work?
I could wait until then to meet. No problem.
What will the speakers do? End of Part 1. Part 2. In this part of the test, you will hear longer conversations between two people. After each conversation, you will answer some questions about it. Choose the best answer to the question from the choices printed in the test booklet, and mark your answer on the separate answer sheet. You should mark A, B, C, or D. There are 14 questions in Part 2. The conversations and questions will not be repeated. If you want to, you may take notes in your booklet as you listen. Please listen carefully. Now, turn the page. Numbers 20 to 23.
Listen to a conversation in a store.
What can I help you with today?
Well, I just moved to town and I need to get a lot of things. Sofa, kitchen table, and chairs, some lamps. The only thing I don't need is a bed.
Okay. Why don't we take it one room at a time? Let's start with the kitchen. These are the tables and chairs that we have. Most of the tables are big enough to seat 4 to 8, but some are just for 2.
It's just me, and I don't cook much. Plus, the kitchen is pretty narrow. I kind of like that set, the small table with the glass top and the leather chairs. How much is it?
The table and chairs are priced separately. The table is $500, and each chair is $200, so if you got it with 2 chairs, it would be $900.
$900 for a table and 2 chairs? That's outrageous. Do you have anything more reasonable?
Actually, that is one of the least expensive tables we have. Wooden tables are even more.
Really? I think I'll have to shop around. Sorry.
Number 20.
What does the woman want to do?
Number 21.
Why does the woman mention cooking?
Number 22.
What does the woman think about the items in the store?
Number 23.
What does the woman mean when she says,
I think I'll have to shop around.
Numbers 24 to 26.
Listen to a conversation between a student and his tutor.
After reading your essay, I have a couple of suggestions for how you can improve your writing. Overall, you've done a great job with the content of the essay. Most of my comments have to do with your use of language. For instance, you need to vary the length of your sentences. Some of your sentences are pretty long, and that can be confusing for the reader.
Really? My professor told me that before, too. For this paper, I bent over backwards to do things differently. I made sure I used some short sentences.
I think there's still room to make them a bit shorter.
Okay, then. I'll go back and change some more. Another thing that my professor mentioned was something about working on transitions. I'm not sure what she meant by that.
Oh, that means you need to add words or phrases to help each idea flow logically into the next.
Can you give me an example?
Well, why don't we work on that right now?
Sure, sounds good.
Number 24.
What is the woman explaining?
Number 25.
What are the speakers going to do next?
Number 26.
What does the man mean when he says,
I bent over backwards to do things differently.
Numbers 27 to 30. Listen to a conversation between two friends.
Are you going to stay in the state after you graduate, or do you think you'll move elsewhere for work?
I haven't decided yet. Once I graduate, I actually have to work for 2 years under supervision before I can get my official nursing license. So I may stay here since I'm close to family.
Once you get your license, can you work anywhere? Or is it a state-by-state thing? Like, would you have to work for 2 years before getting licensed in another state?
You only have to take a test for each state to practice there. But I'd rather not work for 2 years to get licensed here just to take another test elsewhere. Though, I guess it wouldn't be the end of the world. Luckily, the tests are pretty similar, so I would be able to pass pretty easily, I think, if I did decide I wanted to go somewhere else. Except California. They have a whole different system.
Might be worth it, though. I lived there for a while. It's a beautiful state.
Number 27. What does the woman still need to decide? Number 28. Why does the woman mention her family? Number 29. What does the woman say about California? Number 30. Listen to a part of the conversation again, then answer the question.
But I'd rather not work for 2 years to get licensed here just to take another test elsewhere. Though, I guess it wouldn't be the end of the world.
What does the woman mean when she says,
Though, I guess it wouldn't be the end of the world.
Numbers 31 to 33. Listen to a conversation between friends.
Hey, Julie. How's it going with that fitness class you started taking?
It's a walk in the park, and I'm starting to see some results.
Really? What's it like?
Well, it's 1 hour per day, 3 times a week, starting at 8 p.m. Each class is different. One day we're running and doing exercises, the next time we're lifting weights. The instructor's really good, too. She's a former Olympic gymnast. You should give it a try.
I wish I could, but I'm usually at the restaurant then to handle the evening rush. And on my rare nights off, I just like to relax at home. Or sometimes I go to a movie. Exercise is low on my list.
Right, I forgot that you work evenings at the restaurant. I haven't been there in a while. I should stop in sometime.
Wouldn't that defeat the purpose of working out? Well, if you do come, I can use my employee discount. You'll get 15% off your order.
Great! Well, I've got to get going. I need to drop off my stuff at home, then run a few errands before tonight's class.
Number 31. What are the speakers mainly discussing? Number 32. What does the man do most evenings? Number 33. What does the man mean when he says,
Exercise is low on my list.
End of Part 2. Part 3. In this part, you will hear some short talks. After each talk, you will answer some questions about it. Choose the best answer to the question from the choices printed in the test booklet, and mark your answer on the separate answer sheet. You should mark A, B, C, or D. There are 17 questions in Part 3. The talks and questions will not be repeated. If you want to, you may take notes in your booklet as you listen. Please listen carefully. Now, turn the page. Numbers 34 to 37.
Listen to the director of a company.
Hi, everyone. Before I ask Michael to update us on our financial picture, I wanted to make an announcement. As you've probably noticed, if you've been walking around in the halls today, the renovation project on the west side of the building is now underway. They'll be taking out the west wall and constructing an additional wing on that side of the building, which should give us lots more space and allow us to fit everyone more comfortably. I'm sure we're all looking forward to having the additional room. In the meantime, though, we'll be dealing with this construction for about 4 months. Those of you on the other side of the building probably won't be affected much by it. But for the people nearer the construction, there's going to be some noise and also interruptions. There may be times when you'll be asked to let workers into your offices so they can check the electrical wiring. I know that may be frustrating, so let's just try to keep in mind that this project needs to happen for the greater good of the office. And of course, we'll understand if you aren't able to get as much work done on those days when it's especially noisy. If it becomes a real problem, we'll set up some temporary workstations in the conference room away from the noise. Next, we're going to move on to Michael's quarterly report. He has some excellent news for us. Michael?
Number 34.
What is the speaker talking about?
Number 35.
Who will be most affected by the information?
Number 36.
Why does the speaker mention the conference room?
Number 37.
What will probably happen next?
Numbers 38 to 41. Listen to a presentation in a chemistry class.
Good afternoon. As part of Career Exploration Week, your chemistry teacher has asked me to speak to you all about my job as a food laboratory analyst. Basically, I perform controlled tests on food products to determine how long they remain acceptable to be eaten or edible. When I first decided to study chemistry, I didn't know I was going to work as a food scientist. It was just something I fell into, almost by accident. But I really enjoy my job, and I'm excited to tell you about it today. The great thing about studying chemistry is that you're acquiring valuable mathematical and analytical skills that can be applied to many different industries. Some people who major in chemistry in college end up working as chemists, but many others end up becoming pharmacists, doctors, or engineers. I know you'll be learning about many potential career opportunities throughout the course of the week, but I hope my presentation will show you something interesting you can do with chemistry that you haven't thought of. I also want to briefly mention my company's summer science program that provides hands-on opportunities to learn about chemistry and how it relates to food. I've left some flyers by the door, so please grab one on your way out if you're interested in learning more about it. Now, to begin my presentation, I'd like to show some pictures of the lab where I work. They should give you an idea of what my working environment is like.
Number 38. Why are pharmacists, doctors, and engineers mentioned? Number 39. According to the speaker, what can listeners do as they leave? Number 40. What will the speaker probably do next? Number 41. What does the speaker mean when she says,
"It was just something I fell into, almost by accident"?
Numbers 42 to 46. Listen to part of a radio program.
Tonight is the start of Daylight Saving Time, also known as DST. This means we'll be moving our clocks ahead 1 hour, giving us an extra hour of daylight all summer. Many are now arguing that Daylight Saving Time should be used year-round due to its supposed economic benefits. When DST originated in the mid-1900s, supporters said that it would reduce energy consumption because when people arrived home from work, they wouldn't turn on lights since it was still bright outside. This, in fact, is true. But something wasn't anticipated at the time: the rise of home air conditioning. Home air conditioning is now common in the United States. So nowadays, while people still aren't turning lights on when they get home, they are running their air conditioners, which use much more power. Economists have confirmed this by studying DST in the state of Indiana. For years, not all parts of Indiana used DST. Eventually, the government decided the entire state would use daylight saving time. Therefore, it was easy to compare the before and after power usage of the areas where DST was being implemented for the first time. The economists found that energy usage actually went up after daylight saving time was used. So it turns out that DST doesn't provide many people with an economic benefit. However, people do enjoy having more daylight after work to be outside. The value of that is hard to measure. You can't really put a price on spending a few hours in the park with your family on a weekday evening.
Number 42. What is the speaker mainly talking about? Number 43. Who might get the most economic benefit from daylight saving time? Number 44. What did the Indiana study show? Number 45. What is the speaker's attitude about daylight saving time? Number 46. What does the speaker mean when he says,
"But something wasn't anticipated at the time"?
Numbers 47 to 50. Listen to a professor speaking to a class.
Today we're going to talk about how birds sleep. As you're already aware, there's a huge variety of birds on the planet, and you'd be correct to assume that they don't all exhibit the same sleeping behavior. The first sleeping behavior that I want to discuss is sleeping while flying. Yes, there are actually several species of bird that do this. The species for this behavior that we're going to focus on today is the frigate bird. Frigate birds are a large type of seabird. They're about as big as a chicken, but they have really long, slender wings, which they use to fly incredible distances, often out across the ocean. They're a lot more comfortable in the air than on land. Their feet are very small and not very useful in getting them around. Their ease of being in the air extends to their ability to actually sleep while flying. The logistics of studying this is quite a nightmare. But researchers in Panama created a brilliant little device that they call a sleep logger, which they attach to the birds and use to measure both the bird's brainwaves and its use of its muscles to accelerate. I'm no expert on the device, so we're very fortunate to have a guest lecturer, Dr. Jennifer Baker, come in this Wednesday to tell us more about it. Some of you may know Dr. Baker. She's doing a postdoc fellowship here, and she spent a summer working in Panama on this research.
Number 47. What is the talk mainly about? Number 48. What does the speaker say about the research he is discussing? Number 49. Why is Dr. Baker going to speak to the students? Number 50. Listen to part of the talk again, then answer the question.
The first sleeping behavior that I want to discuss is sleeping while flying. Yes, there are actually several species of bird that do this.
Why does the speaker say?
Yes, there are actually several species of bird that do this.
End of the listening test.